Alrighty, guys. So we're back with the astrology stuff, and today we're going to be looking at the houses. It's going to be this page right here. Honestly, I don't know if you guys can see that, or if your phone can zoom in. We're going to only be doing Aries' houses, so hopefully we can go ahead and knock all. Was there 12? Yeah, 12 houses in all. I'm only going to be doing or reading the overview page real quick, and then another video we'll go ahead and read what all the houses have to share. Right now I'm only going to read the title of the house and then what Aries is, or people who are Aries. So I don't know. I don't know anything. The houses are territories, they are dimensions of the psyche, but also places and areas of everyday experience. So it looks like a whole clock system here. So the first is birth and self-identity. I think I could just skip this part if that's the case. Well, that one's slightly different. Let me see the second one. Well, it's similar. Okay, let's just skip it. So Aries on the first house. The first house is self and personality. Honestly, I don't know what the houses are, so let's just read the first part. The 12 houses reveal which areas of life are most important to you. Okay. Well, no. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think everybody is like in a whole up and down system. Like, they can be in a great part of life, they can be in a terrible part of life right now. It's not really the most important, I guess. I don't know. Each house describes a focus of experience, such as your relationships or career. We're going to continue. Okay. Each planet will occupy one of the houses, and any given house can contain more than one planet. Why, though? Here's how to locate and interpret the houses. And then it shows me the clock. So I'm going to show this on the thing. If you guys want to pause it, maybe if you guys want to zoom in, you guys can go ahead and see everything. But, yeah, the IC and the MC. Medium, Coeli, Soli, and Emun Coeli. Bottom of the heavens, middle of the heavens, DC and AC. Ascendant and descendant. Ascendant, the place where the zodiac cuts the horizon in the east. It is symbolic of dawn and the moment of birth. And then the descendant, basically the place where the zodiac cuts in the horizon in the west, exactly opposite of ascending. It's symbolic of the setting sun. Okay, we're gonna see how they work and everything later. Right now I just want to get to what these houses mean to Aries. So, like I said, the first house, yourself and your personality. If you are an Aries, I guess you are probably self-motivated and eager to get going. Your own birth might be reflected in a lifelong pattern of seizuring and initiative. Thing is, remember, like I said, this character that we're building? Honestly, now it just seems like it's just a normal person, because anyone can just see that and interpret it however they want. So these things are really, really, really too vague. Really too vague. It's still fun, though. I won't deny that it is fun to see. Like, we're developing this character. So let's see what Aries in the second house. Possessions, money, and finance. Okay, so I guess this is where you learn how to manage your money. Well, I do want to go back just for a second, now that I think about it. Because this is yourself and your personality, right? And I feel like to oneself, you basically have to self-motivate no matter, I guess in this case, no matter what sign you are, but I was going to say no matter where you are and how you are, because the moment where you think to yourself, oh, I always need support, like sometimes you won't always have that. So it's always best to find your own self-motivation. That's what I think. And see what drives you and what can continue to drive you. It seems like Aries is on the same path, but we'll see. So back to your financial things. Planets in Planets in Aries. Yeah, planets in Aries here will take action to establish and maintain security. I don't know how a planet can maintain security, but I don't know, dodging asteroids? Maybe? I don't know. Aries on the cusps gives an independent and self-motivated approach to personal finance. Okay, so basically I think it's saying that Aries only, they're smart about their money, is what I'm hearing. Once again, that's not always true. It could rely, a whole bunch of other factors financially could struck you. Personally, when it comes to your own possessions, your money, what you finance and everything, as far as this says, I think your possessions should be what you value, not necessarily just having something, like you can have $1 million car, and if you like it, you like it, but if you don't really need it, there's really no point for it. Money wise, always be, I want to say, careful, very careful with your money, because sometimes I know a lot of people that did get scammed. I know a lot of people that did not just get ripped off, but just lose it or spend it terribly. Like, for example, people who get their first paycheck or their paycheck and then just kind of blow it off. I'm sounding a little sad about this only because I do know a lot of people that did go through this. People that kind of say oh, it's payday, it's time to not just spend it, but also I deserve something out of it. And I understand that if you work so hard, after 2 weeks you get paid, maybe 1 week for some people. But after 2 weeks, 1 week, whatever, you're oh, time to spend some money. That's not always the best case. You always want to save your money. Always want to save it. The way I see it is, for every 40 hours you work, I think, I want to say 1/4 of it should go to you. So let's just say you're making, because of the wage increase, let's just say you're making the $20 an hour. And you already worked the 40 hours. Obviously, it's not going to be a perfect paycheck. Let's just go for the average job. And let's just say people are making 20 hours. 20 hours, $20 an hour. I feel like that's pretty fair. Or, yeah. So that comes out to what? $400 for the paycheck? Right? I need to check my math on that. No, I'm correct. I don't know why I was doubting myself. $400, and you worked the 20 hours. I want to say, like I said, 1/4 of that should go to you. 1/4. That way you're not spending too much. The rest could be on savings, bills, and anything else you needed. That would be my advice. Now, sometimes we don't have that choice, and we kind of just have to spend it on the bills and other stuff, which I get. Everybody is in a different financial gain. As for Aries, they said that they're really self-motivated, so an approach to personal finance. So they like to finance they said that they're good with their money. Well, to be fair, it doesn't say that they're good with their money. They just like to be independent with their money. So I guess I do take that back. Regardless, still, it really depends on the person. Really depends on the person. The third house, communication. This one's interesting. Let's see how Aries communicates. Aries, your mind moves fast and you speak your thoughts directly. Perhaps there is a rivalry with a sibling and you sense a need to assert yourself in their presence. Once again, a little vague, but this one is, I want to say, semi-accurate. The reason I say semi-accurate is because I do know a little bit of, well, I guess other Aries that do this. And almost a lot of people do this. A lot of people I know already do this. Some people just speak out their thoughts. They don't even think what they're going to think. And then other people have to overthink what they're going to say or think carefully. Like for me, I try to think of my words like directly, like in my head. That way, when I say it, I don't sound, I'm trying to work on not sounding like an asshole. Because sometimes what I say could be interpreted as extremely rude. So I'm trying not to do that. But at least for me, it's a little difficult. Because I say things and they just kind of blurt out, but they sound pretty rude. But honestly, I'm just asking like a question. So that's something to think about. And it says perhaps there is a rivalry with the sibling, like it's guessing. So again, pretty vague, but also kind of specific, targeting a sibling. I think it's just obviously using that as an example, but like I've had rivalries with my siblings as well, and I know that there's always like going to be a sibling rivalry towards something. I don't know, sometimes even siblings get along, which to me is very weird at a young age. At a more mature age, I feel like you guys get along better, at least from what I've seen. So that was communication. Number 4 is going to be home and family. So maybe something else with a sibling. Let's see. Well, going back to a little bit of life advice for communication. Sorry, I'm jumping like back and forth. But communication wise, I always think it's always good to connect with people. As an introverted person, I don't like doing that. However, I do know that we do need to do that. Just to actually have communications within friends, within, co-workers, within family members in general. Communication is vital, important, especially to human beings, because we are such a social species, whether we like to admit it or not. Because I understand that some people just want to straight up be alone, basically isolated from the world. No, I understand that, but it is important just to have, I want to say, like a little bit of a healthier lifestyle. Yes, you can be completely healthy without people, but it does, I want to say, bring you a different kind of joy, a completely different kind of joy when you're interacting with people that you actually like or can actually have a conversation with. Back to the 4th house, home and family. Aries can significantly... Sorry, the light was blinding me. Aries can signify an atmosphere of rivalry in your early home situation. Okay. And you might have learned to stand your ground in the family group. The thing is like, you have a sibling rivalry. Like, at least for me and my brothers, it was always between either athletic abilities, video games, or education. Those were like the big 3 that we would rival against each other with. But honestly, you can just pick something and then something will become a sibling rivalry. Or in this case, like a family rivalry, like if your mom, dad, or whoever chooses to fight or not fight. I don't know why fighting came to my mind first, but like chooses to have some kind of competition with you. I know that some people try to represent their parents and see like, oh, I can be better than my parents at this, or like for example, cooking, doing household chores, or like for example, cleaning better. Even like fixing things up real quick. Those things people have rivalries for. Now, I don't think that Aries is like they are competitive. At least that's what they said, and like that's the whole basis on Aries. But it says like you have to stand. You might have learned to stand your ground. So like even when I want to say an argument, they kind of fight back. I don't know. This is like slightly confusing, but I don't know. This one already had me a little confused because it's basically the same as the previous one. But in this case, it's basically your own family section, not, I want to say, the communicative side or communicative side. As for home and family, it is important to have a home. And one of the best things from, what movie was it? I forget what it was. But one of the best quotes I've heard was, home is not a place, it's a people. So it's not like a house or anything. It's what people you want to be around with, whether that be just one person or even nobody. Or your family, your friends. It could be anything, so long as you're with that social group. That is what people call home. And honestly, it could be anything. Like, for example, if you feel that you're not okay, or at least wherever you're living is not in an okay spot, and moving to where people either take you in or are more accepting of you, that is considered home. That already, I want to say, intensifies your whole lifestyle, because you basically come from something that you didn't fit in. You weren't accepted, or I don't know, you were just like pushed around, bullied, something. Then you go into a different section where you feel like you feel like you're okay, and then something else, like, not necessarily triggers you, but like you're on your defensive approach because you're so used to this first situation. Now you're in a much better situation, but you're kind of don't know how to feel about it. Like, somebody's being nice to me, that's super weird. Like, for example, I live in a neighborhood where like nobody really talks to each other. As far as I know, none of our neighbors talk to each other. We don't talk to any of our neighbors, but there are other places where like, hey, welcome to your neighborhood home. It's like a different vibe, because if somebody came back to me, I would basically shut the door in front of their face. I'm gonna be like, leave me alone. I came here just to get peace. But sometimes you gotta get accustomed to different things. But as for the family aspect of it, always be with your family. They are pretty important. Unless your family, like, I want to say, does not get along with each other, or like if it's a toxic situation, then yeah, I can understand separating yourself from that whole scenario. You don't have to necessarily be with your family 100% of the time, or back up your family for every small detail. As much as people think like, oh no, family is 100%, like your biological things, and like, the people who gave birth to you, the people who raised you. I want to say all that is really on the situation, because there are other scenarios where a family takes you in, or your friends are your new family. Like, they're the people that are there for you truly, because sometimes your actual family or your biological family, I should say, aren't there for you or don't care about you. Whatever you call family is the people that you should be with. And I want to say Aries is interesting because it says to stand your ground in the family group. Now, to the 5th house. Creativity and children. Nothing. It just reminded me of something else because this has a picture of gambling. Poker chips. Taking a gamble. I'll read that some other time. I'll go through this whole book. I swear. I know I'm going slow, but I will. Because I'm also reading the Bible. And the only reason that one is delayed is because I know I have it somewhere, but I lost an SD card to upload it. But I will pretty soon. Anyways, creativity and children for Aries. So, sports might need to be action-packed. Okay. A way for you to use spare energy or perhaps with an edge of danger. Taking a risk comes naturally to you. So, with the character we created so far, obviously super competitive. We know that Aries is super competitive. Using spare energy, and then perhaps the edge of danger. So I want to say intense sports. All sports can be intense, but I think this one is more thinking of like physical action. So, for example, I want to say the big three, which are basically soccer, football, basketball. I don't want to say golf. Golf is more of a peaceful sport, but it could also be a frustrating sport. Let's see. Volleyball is also action-packed. Well, there's a lot. There's rugby. There's a lot of action-packed sports. Even equestrian. Thing is, I don't want to say that's as action-packed unless it's, I want to say, with a different racer with you. But usually equestrian is just a single person. Like I said, if you're Aries, you would probably like, trying to think of other sports. Hockey, also an intense sport. What's that one with the other stick? Lacrosse. Fencing. Honestly, fencing is a pretty good one. But yeah. Interesting how this said sports, but it said creativity and children. So, I'm so confused on this one with Aries. But it is true, they do love the face of danger. Now, personally, I know a lot of people that like that, so it doesn't really make sense. That's just for the character that we're developing. For me, creativity and children. So, let's do children first. Only have children if you want them. And that's what I'm going to say. If you don't want them, don't have children. If you don't know, wait. That's all I'm going to say. Because some people can be good, some people can be bad, and some people think that they're ready. It's a whole mixture of process. As for creativity, I personally think that us as human beings need to go more on a creative route. And the reason for that is because there could be a lot of different ways to be creative. Like, for example, and these are just small things that I guess turned out to be big things. Person who created the wheel, person who created electricity, or not created electricity, but I guess the light bulb. Not, what's it called? What's his name? Thomas Edison? The other guy. Well, I guess he also created the electric chair. But these different types of, I want to say, engineering can also be creative. I think there was one thing that I heard my friend mention, which was creative engineering, where you take something and try to make it your own style. I forgot what he did, but he basically made an automatic. No. I remember. He made an automatic dog feeder, And what he did was, or I guess dog treat launcher. That's what it was, not dog feeder, dog treat launcher. Where he just put, I'm pretty sure it already exists somewhere else, but he basically took a treat and timed it, and every time this timer goes off, it launches a treat down this little slide, and then just launches up so the dogs can catch it. Obviously, he has to refill it and everything, but it's pretty cool. But people can create things all the time, and I really think that people need to be more creative and outgoing. That's how we get into movies, entertainment, even these podcasts, even other people's podcasts, which are obviously doing more amazing. I'm doing too much for. I'm doing too much for what this is. But yeah, on the creative side, I personally think that everybody has something to offer. It could be a stupid idea that goes amazing. For example, the plane. People didn't think that we would be able to do it, and we did. Human beings can do a lot of things just by tinkering. The 6th house, health and well-being. What Aries likes, or our creation. So, health and well-being. Your routine is likely to be active, pushing yourself to achieve a lot in just one working day. You probably get through the housework in no time at all. So, from my personal experience from Aries, that is bullshit. But anyway, so this guy can do a lot in just one day. And honestly, it's hard. It's hard to do everything that you want to do, especially if you create a list and you like dedicated to finishing it. Some people do finish it. Some people put too much on their list, or some people just don't even touch the list at all. Personally, like me, I don't have a list. I know what I want to do, but I don't really have a general working list because I get a lot of distractions. So that's the only reason these videos come out late. That, and I'm working on, I want to say, too many other channels at the same time. But I just gotta do what I'm gonna do. As for health and well-being, I want to say this doesn't really tell me much through Aries. It does say that they're just a hardworking person, but it doesn't really tell me anything about what your health is, or like being, I want to say. I don't know. It is always important to keep yourself healthy. What was it? Dragon Ball. That was it. So if I remember correctly, trying to think here. Eat well, study hard, and sleep and rest plenty. That's what Master Roshi said. And honestly, that's one of the greatest advice that people should take. Because you always want to work hard. Hardworking, even if it's just taking care of your own house, cleaning it up, doing the chores, doing your laundry, even what's it called? Chemical cleaning everything. Instead of just tossing it to the side or wiping small bits of it down. No, like cleaning the entire place, working through dedication, hard work, determination. That all plays into you being more active. And it's important. It's important to keep yourself moving and eating better. That one went with working hard, working hard. And what was it? Work hard, study hard. Studying does not necessarily mean you have to go to college, or you have to go like completely studying something random. I think that means, from what I took from when he said that quote, is study what you want to study, or study something that you are actually curious on, and keep going with that. For example, if you want space studying or knowing more about the universe, you can go to the observatory, you can look up some other papers, buy a telescope if you can afford it. Study well. I think you should study what you want to study for yourself. Get the information you want. And seeing if your theories are correct or wrong too is also pretty important. You're like, I don't think, let's just say something stupid. I don't think Neptune is a blue planet. I think Neptune is a red planet. And then you go see for yourself. You have your own theories. And then you're like, oh, look, I was completely wrong. Or for some magical reason, let's just say, nope, I was definitely right. And here's why. And that's just like something small. Study well could also mean I'm trying to fix this, I don't know, broken pipe. I don't know how to do it. Let's find out. And you research this, and now everything is at your disposal through the internet. And you can like YouTube it. You can even like hire a professional and look what he does, so that if it happens again, if you're more of an observant person or physical person, you can try to like do it with them. And then sleep plenty. Now this is something a lot of people really struggle with, and honestly they shouldn't. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't because, like, you know, people don't sleep. It's because they don't have time. Or because they're already too stressed out. There's a lot of reasons people don't sleep. And it's honestly kind of annoying. Because in your mind, you're like, I know when I have to sleep. But then you're like, but I have all this stuff to do. It's keeping you up. And sometimes your mind just always keeps you up. It's not easy as people think, like, oh, just get your 4 hours of 8 hours of rest or 1 hour of a nap and you'll be good to go. It's not always that easy for a lot of people. But if you can do that, go for it. Or if you can find a routine to go into that, try it out. Even if it's just starting out with 6 hours, move on to a little bit to 7 hours. And it's hard, especially because people think they need to finish like things at a specific time. I want to say the best advice I got for that is try to relax just a little bit more. Because honestly, it does take a toll on your body if you don't rest, if you don't, take care of your mind. Because that's your mind trying to rest up and get ready. And then eat and sleep plenty. Yeah, that's the last part. So eating, that's something that a lot of people need to get better at. And it's really tough with today's market. Or I guess market, yeah. Or I guess grocery store, with all the prices, with everything increasing. That one's, I don't blame people, but that one is really tough. Because let's just say you're trying to make your own things. Even making something as simple as a pico de gallo would get you, I want to say honestly that would actually get you for a lot of things. You can make a lot of things just adding onions, cilantro, and tomatoes, and onions and a couple other stuff like a quesadilla, or honestly anything really. That can actually get you pretty far. But you also don't want to be eating the same things every day. But grocery shopping has gotten too expensive. If you can afford it, I would say go out and buy yourself what you want to eat for the week or even day, and just make it that same day. But that's also a lot of time. A lot of people say like, no, that should take you about like 15 minutes to an hour, depending on how close your grocery store is and whether you want to do the day or the week. But you also got to see like, maybe I don't actually want to eat this. And then you got to cook everything, and then yada yada yada. It's tough. It's not as easy as it once was. Like my mom used to do it almost every day. I tried to do it for a whole week, and it worked out at first. But then I saw my bank account and I was like, oh shit, I spent way too much money on these things. And you're trying to also get flavors and stuff. Sometimes you're like, oh, you don't really need all the flavors, which is, I guess, is true. not really what you want, but still, it's more expensive than what you're kind of getting in. Best part I can say is just take care of yourself. Your health is you. Your literal health is you. So honestly, take great care of yourself, and then you can start taking care of others. You gotta at least be at 80%. Hey, look, we're reached a midway point. This is actually pretty cool. See, it's simple art, but it's pretty cool. Very basic, but it's just like, I don't know. Conceived in their totality, the houses unfold a process of supreme significance, the story of the emergence and development of a human being. We're just going to go to the next house. Because we're not even finished with them. Relationships, the 7th house. What does this guy have? With Libra rising. Okay, I don't know what that... Oh, wait. No, I do know what that means. I know what that means. I think rising is when the sun's there. So, on the Libra side, you aim for fairness and impartially... let me reread that. With Libra rising, you aim for fairness and impartiality. Oh, okay, that's why I was confused, because there was a dash and then it said yet. Impartially yet. And relating process. You developed a more warrior-like side. That's a typo, because warrior and like are two sides. Unless it's not a typo. I guess warrior-like. I don't know. It says warrior-like right here. I don't know if the hyphen was actually supposed to go there. Or I don't even know if warrior-like is an actual full word. Anyways, a more warrior-like side and complements and balances this. And that complements and balances this. Okay. So, fairness and impartiality. I can't read. Anyways, you developed a more warrior-like side that complements and balances this. It, once again, doesn't tell me anything. But I guess fairness is probably one of the best ways to describe this warrior that we're like thinking. Because you think of, I want to say Goku, you want to fight somebody at their best, making it as fair as possible. Well, I guess not. Like, I want to say like even ground, like no restrictions to no restrictions or restrictions to each one that make it fair. And I guess that would be the same thing in a relationship. And as for relationships, I want to say my best advice for relationships in general, and I think this means all relationships. So I'm going to go with all relationships. Like, for example, family, friends, significant others, even enemies with relationships. You got to go with the golden rule on this one. Basically, treat others how you want to be treated. That's honestly the best way to live life. For me, I'm a little bit of a, I want to say, I like to mess with people. I love to mess with people, and it's fun. And if people mess with me, that means I can mess with them back. But if they don't like getting messed with or anything, I just let it be. They're like, okay, we can basically still be friends, but if you don't want to get messed around with, that's fine. And it's not something like, I want to say, too big, unless you really annoy me. It's usually just something small, like putting, I don't know, like a sticker on your car or something, and then you notice like way later. Something small, and not something like rude or anything or offensive. Well, depending on the person, not offensive to them. But sticky notes on a car. There's a lot of things that I've done just to mess with people. But so far, no one's really complained. But as far as I know. But, the best thing I can do for, I want to say, I guess, loved relationships, or I guess significant other relationships. So whoever you think you're going to go ahead and get and either ask out, or if you get asked out. Well, first of all, there is I want to say, a rule to your pursuing and a rule to your rejecting. In my case, I would always suggest, this is going to come up to people, or people's opinions, but if you're going to ask somebody out, only do it 3 times. So a lot of people say, like, oh, no means no. Yes, but also some people keep saying, oh no, you just gotta, like, pursue it, don't give up on it. And then there's also the, oh, they're just playing hard to get. And this is why I say do it 3 times. It's your choice if you want to do it all at once. But I would say try doing it at most 3 times. Ask the person out. They say no, like, oh, I'm not interested. Fine. Either walk away or continue pursuing it and just say, like, no, come on, like, you and me, let's go. If they say no again, they're like, okay, like, I'm like, serious? No. Like, no. They're like, okay, fine. Ask them one last time. It all depends on how you want to ask them out, yes, but ask them one last time. If they say no one last time and they're like, okay, no, I already told you twice, I'm not going to say yes a 3rd time. No. 3 no's, you're done. That relationship's over. They're not going to want to go out with you. That's it. Move on to the next person. Always 3 times. And it could be, honestly, whenever you want. It could be all at once, or pace it out within a few days, weeks, months, up to you. Even years, but I wouldn't recommend years, because I'm pretty sure that person's already going to get asked out or ask somebody else out. As for your rejection responses, I would always say reject them kindly 3 times. The first part is like, oh no. And I wouldn't say, like, lie to them and then, like, say, like, oh, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. No. I would always be honest as to making sure I am not interested in you. So the first one, just kindly say, like, no, I'm just not interested. I'm not looking for anybody. Please go away. The second one would probably be, I already told you no, it's not going to change. Once again, please go away. Or, like, no, I like us better as friends or something, whatever. Third time, it's like, okay, no, you don't understand this. We're not going to go out. It's as simple as that. Done. After that, there's 2 things. For the pursuing side, if you continue pursuing, that would basically make you a creep, a stalker, all that kind of a thing. As for the rejecting size, you can't really, I don't really have too much to say against it, but the more rude you are, the more of an asshole you become to an approach. So you got to be careful with that. When it comes to your enemies, though, it really depends on how you view your enemies. Personally, it just kind of just shut them out of my life. And that would honestly be the end of it. When it comes to anything else, it says the other half here, but we'll read that another time. Probably on the month of Gemini, and we'll see. But do whatever you can with your relationships. Make them last. Obviously not the enemy one. Don't hold grudges. The 8th house, intimacy and shared possessions. Aries. You tend to change headlong into deep waters, acting first and reflecting later. Okay, we're going to continue. You might fall in love on an impulse or take the risk on investing taking a risk on an investment without thinking it through. I feel like a lot of people do that, at least for the investment part. Some people go all in and then they expect a lot, but then everything goes to shit. Same thing with the falling in love part as an impulse. So this character does everything like head on. They don't really think before they act. That could be a good thing. That could also mostly be a bad thing. Always think before you act. But sometimes if it is impulsive, like for example, a good thing out of this could be you see a rock falling on something. Some people think like, what can I do for this situation? But by that time it takes too long. Out of impulse, you kind of move that person. Same time, that could also cause different. There's a lot. You could like push him somewhere else. You could have dragged him, whiplash. I don't know. So many things. So many factors that it's either too much to think about in that situation, and you kind of need to act. So for this person, it would be just acting, just doing. So intimacy and shared possessions. So basically with your group, what you hold together. For intimacy, I want to say that honestly really just depends on the person. What do you like? What don't you like? And make it clear. That's literally what all I have to say is just make it clear. Don't play games on that one. For shared possessions. See, so this one's a little, I don't want to say tough, but it's a good thing to separate things. There's what was it? There's a thing called separation, but still together. I forget the actual term or the word I'm looking for. That's actually one of the things I need to get better at, is finding my words. But for shared possessions, there is a spot or a place where you're like, okay, I will buy this for us. For example, it could be something like a washing machine or something. But you always want to see, for example, if you guys were to like to split up or something, who would get it. The best thing to do, especially in a situation where it's separation, divorce, or something like that, I want to say, is talk it out. As much as simple as that is, and as hard as that could be, because out of anger, frustration, or other things getting brought up, I want to say, talk it out. Do you need it, or do they need it more? That is more of the situation. On top of that, it would be who spent more on it. So let's just say let's just stick with the washing machine. If you paid, I don't know, like $300 on it, they paid like $250 on it, $550 in total, you would get it. As for a better side of shared possessions would be, well, I want to say basically anything that you guys bought or shared, or like a garden or something. That would be a better path for that. Instead of being a little darker and having it separation, that would be a little more on the light side. You guys own something together. But honestly, there's not much to go from that point. So the 9th house, quest and adventure. I'm gonna try to guess without reading this part first, and I have my hand covered over it, but I'm assuming Aries loves adventure and having a quest and basically being the leader on the quest. So let's see. You do not like to be held back in exploration or adventure. Oh, I forgot to do that. Well, I guess it is being the leader, but no, I'm not going to wibble around it. I didn't get that. Whatever the nature of these. You might prefer to travel solo. Ooh, I forgot the solo part. I should have done that. And go places and have a few visited. So I got that. If this was a target, I would probably be, I don't know, the 5th line. But I want to say I kind of got the gist of it. But I think you like, at least the character likes to basically go like a lone wolf, do things on their own. They don't want to get held back, and they prefer to do everything by themselves. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to do everything by yourself, because it is tough, and it is, I want to say, a driving factor for most people, but they always have help some way, one way or another. But I will say that sometimes doing a quest on your own can make you feel like you got a great accomplishment. So I do actually recommend to do things on your own once in a while. Now, I will say also, if you are part of a team and you are working with a team, your goal to that is to get your team there all together, not just you alone. For any Fortnite players, you know what I mean. Because sometimes people just take off, and I had somebody who is, once again, an Aries, who abandons their team and just goes and does whatever they want. They don't care if their team lives or dies. But that's actually one of the benefits and one of the hard parts of having a team. And that's just a silly video game. Or I guess a lot of people still play it. But there's also the realistic life of it, where you are a team working together, and if you go either too far or too slow, it will impact the rest of, I want to say, the machine, because you guys are working together for something. For example, it could be actually working together, construction. It could be a team event or sports wise. It could be an artistic thing, like, for example, dancing. It could be many things. So it has a huge impact on if you go too fast, too slow, you go off by yourself, basically. So if you are participating with a team, I would say work with your team. Help them get to your level, or ask them for help to get to their level. That's what it means to be a team. Now, you could always take solo adventures, but it does help you learn. And honestly, it's basically that, quest and adventure. Make your own quest. Have your own goals. And I want to say, don't have too many. Or I guess don't try to do too many at once. But definitely have your goals. The 10th house, career and vacation. Vocation. I actually never heard of that word. I don't know if that's backwards. Vocation. Do I have my phone? I do. Let me just see what vocation is real quickly, because I have no idea what that is. And it says career. So here it says a strong feeling of suitability and a particular career or occupation. I guess that makes sense. Person employment or main occupation, especially regarded as particular worthy and requiring great dedication. Okay. So basically, yeah, career. For Aries' career, you might see a self-starter when it comes to your career path. Eager to show that you can do and get ahead of the pack. In your work, you prefer to lead the way. So I do see myself a little bit in this, because I always like to be, a proud person of what you're doing for your work. Honestly, I actually need to get not better at editing my videos, but more in putting more effort, because I have been lacking a little bit, a lot. But honestly, I'm not too worried about this channel as much as mostly my other channels, that I need to put more effort in. Anyway, for this guy, it seems to have like a similar ability, and kind of what we were talking about in the previous page. In your work, you prefer to lead the way. Basically, think of it like a supervisor or a manager, or somebody who's ahead of the pack, somebody who's basically, the alpha dog, the alpha wolf, and basically trying to lead the whole team, because you I guess he knows what he's doing, or you know what you're doing. Same time, that could also lead to too much power, and if you don't know how to use it or manage it well, that could basically destroy everything. People's confidence in you, people lose respect, people don't, I want to say, see your vision, or see the importance of your vision, or even just see that your pride gets in the way. Too much of your own perfection, I want to say, the things you want to do everything perfect, or at least to your standard, would really get in the way. So you always want to make sure you get feedback from a team environment. For career, I guess this also means you want to do what's best for yourself and come out on top. Excuse me. Come out on top. I do have an issue with that if you put your team below you. And what I mean by that is, I want to say, using them for your benefit to grow without giving them the credit, or without giving them enough credit, I should say. That is when I want to say everything kind of goes downhill. Because if your team doesn't feel appreciated, there would just be nothing but shit talk about you. So you always want to be communicative with a team environment. As for yourself, let's just say you're working in something on your own. It would take a lot of hard work and determination, and you trying to beat out everybody else. And at that point, it would just be jealousy. Like, oh, he gets so many sales, for example, a sales job. He gets so many sales on his own or on their own. So really, really would work on a solo self-starter. Yeah, it's a self-starter, so I guess it would. As for your career, in life, I want to say your career really depends on what you want to do. Not what you signed up to do, more like what you want to do. Because usually people just like work, and then there's always the old generation like, oh, just shut up and do what you're told. Not really how it works anymore. But you want to do what makes you happy. Right now, it's really tough to do that. Like, for example, just starting a business would be extremely hard. And it's never easy. We don't want things just handed to us. It's more like, just let us have a chance. Let us get started with something. That's mostly what we're kind of asking. Like, even just something simple like, oh, let me create my own pizza place. Boom, it's there. If it goes well, it goes well. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But then there's other pizza places that will kind of destroy you and burn you to the ground. You know, competition. So you got to choose your career wisely. Personally, I think that everything on video, if people see that you're happy doing what you're doing, they'll kind of go for you. So it honestly depends on you, on what you are passionate about. And sometimes videos aren't for everybody. So even with a simple career, if you're happy in sales or like customer service or something, if you're happy there, go for it. The 11th house, almost done, guys. I know this has already been a long video, but we're also going to do the same for the rest of the other zodiacs. So, but we're already reading half of them, so hopefully the others won't be this long. So, Aries. You might lean towards independent action when it comes to groups and friends. Okay, yeah. You can be social pioneer, lead the group, or feel energized by the hectic social life. Kind of literally what I just said. The previous one. I feel like I'm skipping it a bit ahead. Don't have much to say after that, because it's basically you wanted to lead, you wanted to, move forward and take initiative, take action, be the leader. Now, for friendship and community. Friendships really depends on you. What do you consider a friend? And what do you consider, I want to say, just an acquaintance? Because some people just see like, oh, coworkers are just coworkers, I'm not going to get involved. Honestly, smart move. But that doesn't mean they can't be your friends, or they can't be your friends outside of work. Secondly, sometimes they are like lifetime friends. Just don't get too comfortable, and then just something happens outside, and then work-wise, a lot of drama. So you also got your true friendships, then you got your best friends and all that. So really cherish the people that you are with and that have been with you. Personally, the person who has been with you is not necessarily the longest, but the one who knows, I want to say, not just your struggles, but also your happy moments, and people who know you. There's different levels of friendship. Community wise, it is important to know what is around you. And that's mostly just for voting things, I guess. But really what you feel is, I want to say, needs work in your community, whether that be like trash in your area, or a stop sign should be here, or small things like that. Well, I guess they're not small, they're pretty major things, but things that you notice that can be improved on. Like, oh, we need more sand in parks and not wood, or we need more wood, not sand. Different things. The last house. Service and sacrifice. Actually, sacrifice is pretty big. So for Aries, involvement in charitable, involvement in charitable works can evoke the fighting spirit in you. Okay, and you might lead the crusade. Okay, bringing initiative and focused energy to it. Okay. I guess after all this, that I guess that like enlights a burning spirit inside of you that makes you want to go above and beyond when it comes to charitable events, or involvement in charitable works can evoke the fighting spirit. So you would basically take action, or full on action, and kind of go into it. For example, if you want to feed the homeless, you will feed the homeless. You would like go to even fast food restaurants just to feed them. At least that's my take on it. You would just basically go above and beyond. So for service and sacrifice. So sacrifice is actually going to take me a minute, but as for service, there's only so much you can do because you are just one person, but it can have a giant impact on other people. You can inspire other people, and you can basically, you can do a lot. You can do a lot just by doing something small and make an impact on somebody else's life. That is one big thing, because something super small, somebody else can remember for their entire life. For example, just seeing somebody else either on the street. Once again, we're going to use homelessness, but it could be something completely else too. You just feeding them, they're like, oh, this person is a good person. They're going to feed me something, and I'm going to remember that. Is that always the case? No. But nonetheless, that's just an example. That could be their moment where they see something and they take it to heart. They take it as, this was one of the best moments in my life. It could be something religious too. For example, you prayed for somebody and then they ended up like in tears thinking, oh, I'm not alone. They're praying for me. They care for me. They're showing me that they cared. And obviously, like, they, like, I want to say break down, like, in tears. Like, I don't know. I honestly never had that experience, as in somebody else praying for me. Well, no, that one's a lie, but I never shared, like, an emotion towards it. And just, I want to say your service to somebody else, even it could be a sibling, giving them, I don't know, a unique toy that you used to have when you were children. It could mean a lot. That's what I think. Like, just giving. What do you do for somebody else? It doesn't even need to be a physical something. It could be an act, like an act of kindness. Walking somebody across the street, or wheeling somebody, or helping somebody when they need help, or just, like, I don't know, volunteering for something. That all works out. Sacrifice is a big one, at least life-wise. There's a lot that you have to sacrifice, whether that be something as big or as small, depending on how you look at it, as time, because you are taking time out of your day or your moment just to do something else. Sacrifice can also mean letting people go, or I want to say retiring somebody just so they can have peace. It could like literally mean the literal word sacrifice. So that's what you're like hurting yourself for. But in the end, it would be for the better cause, or it's the better choice overall. Even though that means harming you. So sometimes you do have to get hurt for others to be more satisfied. Does that mean that you have to go all out and just, sacrifice everything you have, give away everything? No. As people, we have to have enough. We have to have balance. Have enough to sustain ourselves, but not give away too much that we would have nothing, or that they would take for granted, or that they expect something. Never sacrifice your time that much either. And this goes all the way back to friendships as well. Sometimes you don't have time for everything, and this goes back to grudges. Don't have a grudge. For example, if you're late to your friends, I don't know, let's just say something like dance recital. That's the first thing that came, or sports event or whatever, or acting, whatever, theater or something. You're just late, but you try your best to make it. Or, don't get offended if they do or don't. But there's also like, something else happened along the way. I have to give that up to go be with this person, or vice versa. Sorry, I can't do this. I have to be here for this person. There's multiple ways to sacrifice, even with something small to something really, really big. I remember one thing where I forgot, I was like 8 or 9, but I did see somebody give away, like, was it $5,000 to the people where I used to live? What was it? What was he doing? I know he just threw it out of his balcony, but he said, it was so long ago that I can't remember his speech, but basically saying, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to pass away soon, so you guys all take it. That was pretty nice. Obviously, the whole tax thing and everything from there, I don't know how that went. I don't know. The money could have been robbed for all I know. But he just tossed it from his balcony. It could be something good like that, something small, or I don't know. It really depends on what you would consider a sacrifice. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the term really resonates to something that would impact you, one that would hurt you. Not necessarily in a bad way. But that would be it for the houses. The rest of these are very, very, I want to say, specific things, and we'll get to all of this. Don't get me wrong. As for Aries, those are all your houses for Aries. I know that I kind of got off topic by basically saying what I mean for most of these, but I will say that for the other videos, I want to say the other zodiacs, I won't go too depth into that again. That was more for me trying to relate to Aries, I want to say. But we are officially done with Aries, at least in the book. So the next sign would be Taurus. So we're going to learn all about that. So we created, to summarize, we created this strong warrior-like figure who is basically the leader, wants to go out and battle, always super competitive, trying to lead the way, and at the same time, a very compassionate and happy person will always help you out. So the best, this still doesn't change the fact that the best character I can describe this as something or as somebody I know, and this is why I said character, would be Goku. Always strong, always passionate, but always still, kind. So that's my best, I want to say, interpretation of Aries. If I'm completely wrong, just let me know. Or what you guys think is what makes Aries. What makes this person or this sign resemble this ram, this creature. So, till next time, now we get to the bull. I'll see you guys then.